Imagine this. The alarm clock rings, and instead of rushing, complaining, or scrolling through your phone, you sit up, take a deep breath, and smile. You whisper to yourself, "This is my day." You stand tall, stretch your arms toward the ceiling, and let gratitude fill your lungs. Before the world moves, before anyone asks anything of you, you take command of your mind. Just like a captain standing at the helm of his ship before setting sail. That single moment, that calm, decisive beginning, sets the course of your entire day. A young man once told me he used to wake up feeling tired, lost, and unmotivated. Then he made one small change. He decided that the first 10 minutes of his morning would belong to him. No phone, no noise, just reflection and gratitude. In a month, his energy doubled. In 3 months, his income increased. In 6, his life had completely changed. He didn't change the world. He changed the way he started his mornings, and that changed everything. Each morning, life hands us a blank page, and the pen rests quietly in our hands. What we write upon that page depends entirely on how we choose to begin the day. Most people rise in a hurry, stumble through noise, and dive headfirst into the concerns of the world before they've even met themselves. But the successful man, the serene woman, the calm creator, they begin differently. They know that the tone of the morning is the tone of the mind, and the tone of the mind shapes the story of the day. There is immense power in the stillness of dawn. It's the hour when the world is quiet and the noise of yesterday has faded. In that silence lies your opportunity. Spend those first moments alone with your thoughts, not your phone. Sit in gratitude for the gift of waking up, for the breath in your lungs, for another chance to try again. You may think it's small, this simple act of awareness, but it's the difference between drifting through life and directing it. The human mind is like a fertile field. It will grow anything you plant. Most people plant weeds by accident, worry, resentment, or distraction. But the wise person wakes up early enough to plant the seeds of peace, focus, and gratitude before the weeds have a chance to take root. Let your morning routine be deliberate. Rise early, not out of punishment, but out of promise. Stretch your body and remind yourself you are alive. Drink water slowly, breathe deeply, and think of one thing you can accomplish today that will move you closer to your dream. Write it down. Then visualize it clearly as though it already exists. This is not fantasy. It is preparation. The mind rehearses success long before the body achieves it. There is a quiet strength that comes from this discipline. You'll begin to notice that life responds differently when you do. The day bends in your favor. People seem friendlier. Obstacles appear smaller. That's not coincidence. That's you, radiating a calm certainty that can only come from mastering your mornings. Your morning is the steering wheel of your day. Control it, and you control your direction. When a man begins his day in confusion, his hours follow the same crooked line. But when he begins it with order, with clarity and intention, his day unfolds with grace and purpose. Think of a ship setting sail at dawn. If the captain drifts even 1 degree off course, by sunset he'll find himself miles away from his intended destination. Yet if he takes a moment to align his compass, to study his map, to set his course with precision, he will arrive exactly where he planned. Your morning is that compass, and the choices you make before the world awakens determine how far and how straight you'll travel. The average person believes the day begins when they step outside or start working, but in truth, it begins the moment their eyes open. In those first quiet minutes, you can either take the wheel or surrender it to chance. Most people choose the latter without realizing it. They react to alarms, rush through routines, and let their first thoughts be dictated by yesterday's worries. They move like passengers instead of captains, wondering later why their day feels out of control. The difference between drifting and driving lies in the moment you decide to steer. Control your morning, and the rest of the day will follow the direction you've set. Imagine, for a moment, the way a pilot begins his flight. He doesn't rush into the cockpit and take off blindly. He checks every gauge, studies the weather, and ensures the engines are sound. Only then does he lift the plane into the sky. Why? Because he knows a few careful minutes on the ground ensure safe hours in the air. So it is with life. Those first moments of your morning determine the altitude of your day. Begin them with care, and you rise smoothly above life's turbulence. Begin them carelessly, and you'll spend your hours trying to correct the flight. There is something sacred about early hours. The world is still half asleep, and the mind is untainted by noise or demand. This is when your thoughts are purest, your will is strongest, and your direction is clearest. Use that stillness to set your tone. Don't hand it over to a glowing screen or the noise of headlines. Sit quietly. Think of what you want from the day, not what the day might take from you. Ask yourself a simple question. Where am I steering today? That single question will awaken purpose within you faster than any cup of coffee ever could. Your morning routine need not be elaborate. What matters is ownership. Wake with gratitude, stretch your body, breathe deeply, think clearly, and remind yourself that you are in command of this ship. Refuse to drift. Refuse to hand your steering wheel to circumstance. When you set your direction deliberately each morning, life will begin to move with you, not against you. The first 10 minutes after waking are sacred. Fill them with purpose, not distraction. In those brief, fragile moments between sleep and awareness, the mind stands open, like a field untouched by footsteps, ready to receive whatever seed you choose to plant. Most people waste this miracle of time. They grab their phones, check the world before checking themselves, and fill their fresh, quiet consciousness with noise that does not belong to them. They hand over the brush and let the world paint the first colors of their day. Yet the man who understands the power of those 10 minutes keeps them for himself. He knows that how he spends them will echo through every hour that follows. The mind in its first awakening is pure and pliable. It has not yet remembered the problems of yesterday, nor has it built resistance against the opportunities of today. Whatever thought you feed it first becomes its guiding theme. If that thought is gratitude, the day grows rich. If it is purpose, the day becomes focused. But if it is complaint or distraction, the day begins on shaky ground. You cannot expect strength from a day built on weakness. You cannot hope for clarity when the first act of the morning was confusion. Those 10 minutes are the soil in which your whole day will grow. Treat them with reverence. Think of an artist who starts a masterpiece. He doesn't begin by smearing random colors across the canvas. He studies the light, considers his vision, and with calm precision makes his first stroke. That first stroke decides everything that follows. So it is with life. The first words you speak, the first thoughts you entertain, the first breaths you take in awareness, these are the brushstrokes that define your day's design. To start your morning with purpose is to begin your masterpiece consciously, rather than by accident. A good practice is to remain silent for a minute or two after waking. Feel your breath, the weight of your body, the stillness of your surroundings. Then let gratitude enter, simple gratitude for life itself. You are alive, and that alone is worthy of thanks. From that state of appreciation, set one clear intention for the day. It might be to remain calm, to complete a task, to act with kindness, or to move closer to a goal. Speak it quietly to yourself. Write it down if you must. That single act of direction gives your mind a target, a course to follow, and it will spend the rest of the day unconsciously aligning your actions toward it. Avoid the modern trap of beginning your day with other people's noise. The world's messages are not written for your peace, they are designed for your attention. Guard it fiercely in those 10 minutes. You are training your mind to listen to your own voice before it hears the world's. For in those moments of solitude, before the day begins its clamor, you become the author of your own morning, and the architect of your own fate. Gratitude at dawn is the seed of abundance at dusk. Each morning, when the light first touches the earth, life offers us an invisible gift, the chance to begin again. Yet how few recognize its value. Most rush into the day as if the dawn owed them something, as if the mere act of waking were ordinary. But those who understand life's quiet law know that gratitude is not just a polite gesture. It is a force that multiplies everything it touches. To begin your day with gratitude is to align yourself with the rhythm of creation itself. You are saying to the universe, I see what I have and I honor it. And in that recognition, more is given. A grateful mind cannot be bitter, fearful, or resentful. It stands apart calm and sure because it sees clearly. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into the meaningful. It turns a cup of coffee into a blessing, a sunrise into a revelation, a challenge into a lesson. The man who practices gratitude each morning does not wait for abundance to arrive. He creates it with his awareness. He knows that by giving thanks for what he already possesses, he sets in motion the unseen laws that attract more of what he desires. Gratitude is not a superstition. It is a discipline of perception. It trains the eye to notice opportunities where others see only obstacles. Consider how a farmer treats his land. Before he expects a harvest, he tends to the soil, removing stones, softening it, and enriching it with care. Gratitude does the same for the mind. It prepares the inner ground for ideas to take root. Without it, your thoughts grow in barren soil, hard, resistant, and unable to sustain growth. Each morning as you awaken, take a moment to till that mental ground. Think of 3 simple things for which you are thankful. Not grand, distant dreams, but immediate blessings: the warmth of your bed, the breath in your chest, the people who care for you. In doing so, you open the channels of the mind for life to flow freely through you. When you begin your day with gratitude, You reframe your relationship with time itself. The day no longer feels like a burden to be endured but a privilege to be lived. Every moment becomes a possibility instead of a problem. Gratitude sharpens awareness and makes life vivid. You'll find that opportunities seem to appear where none existed, that people respond to you with warmth, and that your challenges begin to reveal their hidden purpose. This is not magic. It is perception refined by appreciation. Abundance is not measured by possessions but by perspective. Two people can live the same day. One will see scarcity, the other will see richness. The difference lies in gratitude. It is the seed that, when planted at dawn, grows silently beneath the surface of your hours and by dusk bears fruit in peace, fulfillment, and quiet joy. The mind, when calm in the morning, remains unshaken through the storms of the day. It is not the weight of the world that crushes us, but the turbulence within us that magnifies it. When you rise in the early hours before the noise of life begins its endless demand, you have the rare opportunity to steady the waters of your mind. The world outside will move as it always does. Fast, unpredictable, often indifferent, but the world within can be brought to stillness. That stillness is not emptiness, it is strength under control. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what the day brings, you will meet it from a centered and deliberate place. Most people awaken and are swept immediately into motion. They hurry through their mornings, minds buzzing with half-formed thoughts and lingering worries. By the time they step into their day, their inner world is already in chaos. A single inconvenience becomes a disaster, a small delay becomes an outrage, and their emotions are tossed about like leaves in the wind. But the man who begins his morning in calm reflection moves differently through life. He is not untouched by challenge, but he is unshaken by it. He responds rather than reacts. His mind becomes a still lake that mirrors reality clearly, instead of a stormy sea that distorts every reflection. Calmness is not laziness, it is mastery. It is the ability to hold one's center while others are losing theirs. And like all forms of mastery, it is born of practice. The morning hours are the best time to cultivate this art. Sit quietly, even for a few minutes. Breathe deeply, not with effort, but with awareness. Let your thoughts pass without chasing them. Observe how the mind wanders and gently bring it back. In that moment, you are training the most powerful instrument in the world, your attention. You are teaching your mind that it belongs to you, not to the noise around you. There is an ancient wisdom that says, "Still waters run deep." It is the same with the human spirit. The deeper you grow in calmness, the more depth your life acquires. You become someone others trust instinctively, someone whose presence steadies the room. This quality cannot be faked, it must be cultivated. A calm morning makes for a powerful presence. When your first thoughts are composed, your later actions carry quiet authority. People sense it, though they cannot explain it. It is the invisible mark of someone who begins each day with intention rather than impulse. The calm mind does not mean the absence of difficulty. It means the presence of understanding. It sees problems as processes, not punishments. It handles the unexpected with grace, not panic. When you make calmness your first act of the day, you give yourself a shield that no circumstance can pierce. The storms will still come, but they will find no hold within you, for you have already chosen peace before the day had a chance to test it. Your thoughts before sunrise write the script for your reality. Every day before the world awakens, your mind begins its quiet work, shaping the tone, direction, and quality of the hours to come. In those tender moments between darkness and light, you are the author of your day. The story you write in thought becomes the life you live in action. Most people rise and allow yesterday's worries to replay themselves, and without realizing it, they begin a sequel to the same story they say they want to escape. But the individual who understands the law of thought knows that the mind is not a recording, it is a typewriter, and each morning offers a clean sheet. What you type in the early stillness will echo through every meeting, every choice, every word you speak. The mind is at its most receptive when it first awakens. It has not yet been colored by distractions or noise. The thoughts you choose in that hour are like seeds dropped into soft soil. They take root quickly, drawing nourishment from your emotions and shaping your perception throughout the day. If you begin with fear, the day will find reasons to confirm it. If you begin with gratitude, life will reveal small treasures in places you never thought to look. The mind does not care what you plant. It will grow both weeds and roses with equal devotion. That is why the wise man treats his morning thoughts with reverence, for he knows that what he entertains in the quiet will later appear in the visible world. It takes only a few minutes to set the stage for a remarkable day. Sit in silence and choose your first thoughts carefully. Think of what you want, not of what you lack. Picture yourself calm, composed, and purposeful. Imagine success as though it were already in motion. This is not fantasy, it is direction. The mind believes what it is told with consistency, and the world in time aligns itself with that belief. As surely as a script guides the actor's lines, your morning thoughts guide your behavior. They determine your energy, your words, your tone, and ultimately your results. The person who begins the day thinking of confusion will speak in confusion, act in confusion, and attract confusion. The one who begins in clarity will find clarity returned to him from every corner of the day. The great secret is that thought precedes circumstance. Everything visible was first invisible, a quiet concept in someone's mind. The same principle applies to your life. Your career, your relationships, your peace, your health. All are molded by the thoughts you choose when the day begins. Most people let their minds wander like untrained horses at sunrise, but the disciplined individual gathers the reins and directs them toward purpose. Each morning, before you step into the world, write your story in silence, line by line, with thoughts of gratitude, courage, and success. For as the sun rises to light the earth, your thoughts rise to light your path. Discipline in routine is freedom in life. To most people, the word discipline sounds like restriction, a cage built of rules and repetition. But to those who have mastered themselves, discipline is not confinement. It is release. It is the quiet order that liberates the mind from chaos. A man without routine drifts like a ship without a rudder, pushed by every passing wind of mood and circumstance. But the man of discipline, the one who begins each day with a deliberate rhythm, moves steadily forward while others spin in circles. His life gains a symmetry, a quiet power born from consistency, not chance. When you rise each morning with no plan, you surrender control to the day. You become reactive, living at the mercy of what happens instead of directing it. Discipline reverses this. It says to life, I will not wait for you to decide my pace. I will set it myself. Routine does not dull the mind, it sharpens it. The greatest thinkers, writers, and leaders in history all lived by patterns that seemed on the surface repetitive. Yet through those patterns they found clarity. Each morning, they prepared their minds and bodies the same way a musician tunes his instrument before a concert. Without that preparation, the music of life plays out of tune. Discipline creates freedom because it removes the need for constant decision-making. When you know what your morning holds, when you rise, when you move, when you plan, you conserve energy for higher purposes. Indiscipline scatters it. The mind that begins the day without order wastes its strength on trivial choices, while the disciplined mind channels its energy toward creation. That is the quiet secret of the successful individual. He does not rely on motivation or inspiration, he relies on structure. He knows that waiting for inspiration is like waiting for the wind to blow in your favor. Discipline sets the sail so that even in stillness, he moves forward. The beauty of a routine lies not in its glamour but in its reliability. A simple habit, rising early, reflecting in silence, moving your body, reviewing your goals, creates a rhythm that steadies the soul. Life is uncertain, but your routine can be your anchor. It reminds you each morning that no matter what happens around you, there are parts of the day that belong entirely to your control. In that control lies peace, and in that peace lies the strength to meet the unpredictable world with calm. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. You will stumble, you will falter, but the man who returns each morning to his routine is unbreakable. Over time, what was once effort becomes second nature. The same pattern that once demanded willpower becomes a source of quiet joy. Through discipline, you stop chasing freedom and begin to live it, because nothing is freer than a mind that governs itself. The way you greet the day is the way life will greet you back. Every morning, the world stands before you like a mirror, ready to reflect your attitude. If you meet it with dread, it will show you reasons to confirm your fear. If you meet it with gratitude and purpose, it will unfold opportunities that match your outlook. Life is remarkably obedient to the spirit in which you approach it. Each sunrise offers you a choice, to step into the day as a victim of circumstance or as a creator of possibility. How you choose to begin determines how life will respond, for the world tends to mirror the tone of your own mind. There is a peculiar magic in the first few minutes after you wake. Your mind is soft, open, and receptive, like a field untouched by the plow. The first thought you entertain, the first emotion you allow, becomes the seed from which your entire day grows. If you rise with complaint, your mind begins to search for more reasons to complain. But if you rise with quiet appreciation, for the breath you draw, for the roof above you, for another chance to live, you prime your consciousness to notice the beauty hidden in plain sight. You cannot control every event, but you can control the spirit in which you meet them, and that spirit decides how the day unfolds. Imagine walking into a room where two people are present, one smiling warmly, the other scowling with impatience. Which one draws you in? Which one influences the tone of the space? Your day functions in much the same way. It reflects the emotional energy you bring to it. When you greet the morning with optimism and calm resolve, life seems to bend toward your favor. Challenges lose their sting, people respond more kindly, and progress feels effortless. The same task that once felt heavy now carries a quiet rhythm of purpose, simply because you began the day in the right frame of mind. The greeting you give to the morning does not need to be loud or elaborate. It can be as simple as standing before the mirror and saying, "Today I begin with peace." It can be a silent moment by the window, watching the light touch the horizon, reminding yourself that each sunrise is both a gift and a responsibility. The power lies not in the ritual itself, but in the consciousness behind it. You are telling life, "I am ready. I will meet you halfway." And life, in its quiet wisdom, always answers in kind. There is a law as certain as gravity. You receive from the world what you bring into it. A sour beginning sours the day, while a calm and grateful start opens unseen doors. Each morning, the universe listens carefully to the tone of your greeting and decides how it will respond. If you meet the day with light, the day will return the light to you. Multiplied, a purposeful morning builds invisible momentum that carries you farther than willpower alone. The first hour after waking holds a quiet kind of power, not loud, not forceful, but steady and persistent, like a river shaping the stone through time. Most people spend their mornings in reaction, responding to demands before they've decided what truly matters. But those who start their day with intention move through life with a rhythm others can't quite explain. They seem to glide rather than struggle, to progress without panic. That is the unseen force of momentum, built not through frantic effort, but through purpose repeated daily in silence and consistency. Purpose is the mind's compass. Without it, you wander. With it, even the smallest step has direction. When you wake and immediately align yourself with your purpose, your reason for doing, being, and striving, you create momentum that no obstacle can easily stop. You may not feel it at first. It begins quietly, almost imperceptibly, like the hum of a machine just beginning to move. But as you act in alignment with your purpose, energy begins to gather. The day responds differently to those who know why they are moving. Circumstances that once resisted begin to yield. People who once ignored you begin to notice. The world bends subtly toward the individual who greets it with clear intent. Willpower alone is fragile. It flickers under pressure and fades in fatigue. Purpose, however, endures. It fuels your will without draining it. A man driven by purpose wakes before the alarm, not because he must, but because he is drawn by something greater than comfort. He doesn't need to push himself forward every day. He is pulled by meaning. And meaning, once awakened in the morning, carries through every task, every word, every challenge. Even the most ordinary day becomes significant when begun with a sense of direction. To build this momentum, you must claim the first moments of your morning as sacred. Before the world reaches for you, reach for yourself. Ask, what do I want this day to stand for? What one thing done well will move me closer to the life I envision? Write it down. See it clearly. Then act on it. Even a small action taken with purpose has more power than a dozen done from habit. Purpose focuses energy, energy creates movement, movement builds momentum, and momentum, once formed, becomes a force that seems to carry you effortlessly forward. There is a quiet truth that separates those who drift from those who ascend. The former begin their days in reaction, the latter begin in intention. The difference is invisible in the morning, but unmistakable by evening. Purpose sets the mind in motion, and motion sustained becomes destiny. Each morning you either start your engine with direction or let it idle in distraction. The choice determines not only how your day unfolds, but how your life takes shape. When you begin each morning in peace, you become immune to chaos. The world you step into each day is filled with noise, the kind that pulls at your attention, disturbs your balance, and demands your reaction. But peace, when cultivated at the beginning of the day, becomes a kind of armor. It does not make the world quieter, it makes you quieter within it. The man who starts his morning in serenity does not need the world to behave. He carries his own calm like a steady flame through the winds of circumstance. While others are tossed by every disturbance, he moves with grace, untouched by the panic that consumes those who never learn to anchor their minds before the day begins. Peace is not a gift from the world. It is a discipline of the spirit. It must be chosen deliberately each morning before the noise begins. Sit in silence, even if for only a few minutes, and listen to the rhythm of your own breath. Let your thoughts settle like dust in still air. The temptation will arise to reach for your phone, to check what happened while you slept, to dive headlong into the demands of others. Resist it. Those few minutes of inner quiet are worth more than an hour of restless motion. They remind you that life is lived from the inside out, not the outside in. You are not what happens to you. You are how you meet what happens when you rise in peace. You meet the day from a higher altitude. The small frustrations that used to shake you lose their power. Someone else's anger cannot disturb you because you are not tuned to that frequency. You respond instead of react. You observe instead of absorb. You carry within you a quiet authority that others can feel but cannot explain. They see it in the way you move, in the way you listen, in the way you choose not to hurry. Peace lends dignity to your presence. It transforms ordinary actions into deliberate expressions of control. To begin the day in peace is not to escape responsibility, but to master it. A calm mind solves problems faster, sees clearer, and decides with greater wisdom. Turbulence clouds reason, but serenity sharpens it. Think of a lake when the water is still. It reflects the sky perfectly. But when disturbed, it reflects nothing but distortion. The same holds true for your mind. When calm, it mirrors truth. When restless, it mirrors confusion. Each morning you are given the chance to clear those waters before the world stirs them. Peace is not passive. It is active strength, a quiet power that governs thought and emotion before they govern you. When you build it into your mornings, chaos loses its grip. You move through life as the eye of the storm, still aware and unbroken. No matter how fiercely the winds around you blow, success does not begin with a plan. It begins with a practiced morning. Most people imagine achievement as the product of brilliant ideas, sudden inspiration, or dramatic decisions. Yet the truth is far quieter, far more consistent. The successful individual knows that greatness is born in the early hours, long before the world notices. It is in those first moments after waking that character is reinforced, priorities are clarified, and the momentum for the day is quietly set in motion. Without a strong morning, even the clearest plan falters, because the mind, untrained and unsettled, cannot execute with precision. Every great achievement begins with the small, seemingly ordinary habits that occur consistently. Rising early, moving the body, reflecting in silence, reviewing goals, and setting intention, these acts may appear mundane, yet they compound over time into extraordinary results. The individual who performs them understands that the day responds not to ambition alone, but to preparedness. Willpower without preparation is like trying to build a house without laying a foundation. But a practiced morning lays that foundation. It aligns mind, body, and spirit before the chaos of life begins to exert its pull. The mind, when guided by habit and structure, becomes a tool of remarkable efficiency. In those quiet morning hours, it is most receptive, most creative, and most capable of absorbing direction. By rehearsing success each morning, visualizing goals, affirming purpose, and reviewing tasks, the mind begins to attract opportunities and solutions that would otherwise go unnoticed. This is the secret of the self-made man and woman, not luck, not sudden genius, but the deliberate cultivation of readiness before the world demands action. Consider the analogy of a musician before a concert. The audience hears the music and marvels at the performance, yet the hours of scales, exercises, and practice that prepared the musician are invisible. So it is with success. Those who rise each morning with purpose and routine have already won before the day begins. Their energy is steady, their focus sharp, and their responses measured. They are able to meet challenges with clarity, pursue opportunities with confidence, and sustain effort long after the undisciplined have faltered. The morning becomes a rehearsal, a training ground for excellence. Success is also a matter of consistency. The occasional inspired morning may produce fleeting results, but it is the daily practice, the unbroken repetition of constructive habits at the start of each day, that produces enduring achievement. One small step taken each morning toward improvement compounds in ways invisible to the unobservant eye. By the time the world recognizes the results, it seems effortless. Yet it is the morning, practiced and protected, that has quietly orchestrated the performance. Every sunrise offers the same gift: a fresh canvas, a new opportunity, a moment in which to practice the habits that lead to success. To ignore it is to surrender potential. To seize it is to place yourself on the path that countless hours of consistent preparation have proven to be the surest route to accomplishment. By mastering your morning, you are not simply organizing your day, you are shaping your destiny step by deliberate step. Remember this: the morning does not give you energy, it gives you direction. Energy fades, direction endures. And when your direction is set by calm purpose, your day becomes a symphony rather than a struggle. We often wait for motivation to arrive, but motivation is not a visitor. It's a creation. You build it through small acts of intention each morning. A short walk, a moment of gratitude, a quiet affirmation of who you are and who you are becoming. These are not trivial rituals, they are the foundations upon which extraordinary lives are built. So tomorrow morning, before the noise begins, take a moment for yourself. Sit up, smile, whisper, "This is my day." And mean it. Don't start your day reacting, start it creating. Build a routine so strong, so intentional that even the storms of life cannot shake it. Every sunrise brings a new invitation. To begin again, to think again, to become again. Accept that invitation, because when you start every morning with purpose, you end every night with peace. Tomorrow morning, rise 10 minutes earlier. Claim those 10 minutes as your sacred space. Fill them with gratitude, reflection, and intention. Do it every day for 30 days, and you'll discover that you don't just start your mornings differently, you start your life differently.